Hi everybody, and welcome to my channel. My name's Jessica, and I thought that since I'm starting my channel at the beginning of a new year, it would be appropriate for my first video to be a favorites and flops from the previous year. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to do favorites first and flops second, starting with face products, and after that, no real particular order. And the first product I want to mention is the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. And I put this on before my makeup, and it just gives a really, really great luminous, dewy amazingness on your face. I have super dry skin, so any extra moisture I can get, I take, especially around my nose. I get really flaky and dry, and it's just not cute. So I use this beforehand to give myself an extra boost after moisturizer. The second product I want to mention, which is fairly similar to the Becca Backlight Priming Filter, is MAC Strobe Cream. It's not technically a primer, but I use it like one. It does something very similar to Becca's Backlight Priming Filter. It comes out like a stark white, like that. But once you rub it in, it does give a little bit, like it makes you a tad bit paler, I think. But it just gives you very similar to the Backlight Priming Filter, just a little glow to the skin before you put on foundation, which I really, really like. So next, I'm going to mention kind of a two-in-one, and that's Makeup Forever Ultra HD Liquid Foundation and Stick Foundation in 117. And I like these for two different reasons. This one, I think, is a little bit better if you're going for a kind of more natural makeup. It's still a medium coverage foundation, but I feel like it looks a little better on your skin if you're doing less heavy makeup, if that makes sense. I think it might also be a little bit better for oily skin than the Stick foundation is, and I'll talk about that one in a second. The Stick foundation is wonderful. Dry girl's dream. I put this on my face like a little stick, cream contour almost even, and then I will either take a brush or a beauty blender and blend it out. I don't use this as much when I'm doing more no makeup or minimal makeup, because it makes my skin look almost too perfect, if that's even a thing. And dewy, it just, for more natural makeup, it looks a little too stark. I'm wearing it today. I think it looks great with a full face, but for lighter makeup, it might look a little too heavy. But it just really evens out my skin tone. I think it matches me great. I have a lot of redness in my face. I'm really dry. This covers it up. So does this one. I just reach for the other one based on the look I'm trying to go for that day. So that's the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundations. Next, I'm going to talk about another foundation that I literally have never heard anyone talk about on YouTube, a blog, anything, but I love it. It is the Givenchy Photo Perfection Fluid Foundation. I have it in the shade Perfect Vanilla. This stuff's amazing. It's more of a sheer to light, buildable maybe to medium coverage foundation, but it has SPF 20 in it, so it's good for every day. It won't photograph great. There will be a little bit of a flashback, but if you're not doing a photography shoot, this is a great everyday foundation. It's a little bit on the pricey side, but whenever I wear this, I get compliments on my skin, not my makeup, my skin. It just evens out my skin tone. It smells really good. It hydrates me. I think it's wonderful. I have never worn it and gotten bad feedback. Next is not really a foundation, but you can use it like one, and that is the Cover FX Custom Cover Drops. Mine are in G30. It's for when I'm a little darker. I also tend to mix it with MAC's Strobe Cream, which will lighten it up a little bit. And I will mix my own foundations with this. That's what it's for. You don't use it on its own. It's a pure pigment. My only complaint with it is that the bottle is super messy. As you can see, mine is all gross and caked up. I've got gunk on the rim. I have tried to get it off and it just stains it, but that's how pigmented this is. And I will wear this with a primer mixed in as a foundation all on its own. I've built it up to medium coverage. I've also mixed it in with lighter coverage foundations or BB creams to make my own cover or to even out the shade if it's a little dark for me or a little light for me depending on the year. I just really love this stuff and I use it a ton. Next, I want to talk about a concealer. I have yet to find my absolutely perfect concealer, but this from the drugstore is pretty good and it's cheap. And this is the Maybelline Superstay Better Skin Concealer. And I use this in the lightest shade. It's 10 Ivory. It's more of a medium coverage foundation. I would say that it's comparable to the Maybelline Fit Me concealer, but it doesn't crease on me as bad. And not that the Maybelline Fit Me creases a lot, just that I tend to have very watery eyes, and a lot of concealers will just start rubbing away around where the water leaks from my eyes. And I have a lot of redness, veins, stuff that you don't want to see, and it's really obvious when the concealer starts to move away. And this has never done that to me. I set it with a powder. I set all of my concealers with a powder because I have a tendency to crease and blot away, but this one I don't really have a problem with. If I'm going for full-on, full face of makeup, I might reach for something different, but from the drugstore I found this year and I think it's great. And last is technically a finishing step, but I'm going to mention it with the face products, and that's MAC's Prep and Prime Fix Plus. I use this stuff every day. As you can see, I'm down to the last little bit. I spray this on my brushes if I'm trying to make a regular shimmer shadow stand out more. I will spray it on my face after I'm done with my makeup to kind of set everything and blur it together. It's just wonderful. But I love this. It is magic in a bottle. It blends everything together if you use powder. It sets it into your skin so that you don't look like a cakey mess. I love it. Next, still staying within a face realm, I have to talk about my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Diffused Light. As you can see, I might have liked it a little bit. I never used to use a powder because I was so dry. It would make me feel cakey. It would feel heavy, settle into lines that I don't want to emphasize, and this doesn't do that. It's a really light, let's see if we can show you. It's a really light pale yellow, maybe with a hint of shimmer in it, but you can't really see it. I don't know if you can even see that on the back of my hand. It's pretty sheer. It's just a finishing powder to set your foundation. I love it. I feel like it blurs everything together. Since it's a little yellow, it has a tendency to hide a little bit more redness too, and I have a lot of redness in my face. So I just love this stuff. I need to pick up a new one. Obviously, I'm trying to use it into the last drop because it is expensive. It's like a $45 powder, but I bought this almost a year ago and it's lasted me the whole time. So I'll definitely be rebuying that. Next, I want to talk about this specifically for one shade, but this is the Park Avenue Princess palette. And I like everything in here. This is the one with, it's a little dirty, with the bronzer, blush, and highlight shade. I primarily use it for this bronzer. This bronzer is a really great color in my opinion. It's not too warm, it's not too cool, it's not too dark, it just blends in really nicely. And I don't tend to do a whole lot of bronzing since you mainly do that around the perimeters of your face, and with my haircut you don't see a lot of the perimeters of my face, so I tend to just pop it right over top of my contour to give a little more dimension to my face, and I really like it. It's the bronzer I use most of the time, and I'm super glad I picked up this palette. I know you can also get the Park Avenue Princess bronzer on its own if you don't want to pay for the extra blush and highlight, although those are gorgeous too. Staying in the sort of blush theme. The next blush I want to talk about is Tarte's Exposed Blush. And this is just a kind of, I hope I'm not blinding you, a kind of dusty pink nude color. It's great for every day. Their blushes last a really, really long time on me. You can see it there. It's just a really nice hint of color. I'm wearing it on my cheeks today. I think it goes with basically any look I can do. It's not too pink. It's not super nude. It's enough color. And it lasts, I don't know if I would say 12 hours, but it's definitely lasted me through a full 8-hour shift at work. And my job can be intense. So I love this stuff. I'm going to use it until there's none left. The next blush I want to talk about is one of Urban Decay's Afterglow blushes. This is in the shade Fetish. It looks a little dark to me in the pan, but I just love the way it blends out. It's a matte finish. It's a very purpley, let's see if I can build up the intensity a little bit. It's a really purpley rose pink shade. It's not too dissimilar from the one I just showed you, Tarte's Exposed, but it's just a little more purple. It's great for cool toned looks. I've used it with warm tones too. I've put on a really sheer layer for every day. I just love the color. It does last a long time for me. I, again, haven't timed everything to know exactly how long it lasts, but 8 hours doesn't seem too far off for me. Really love the color. Want to try more. Love these blushes. The next I want to talk about is another Hourglass product, and this is Hourglass's Luminous Flush Ambient Lighting Blush. It's got a little bit of the Luminous Light powder mixed in the marbleized blush. It's a beautiful rosy pinky color. It's not, as you can see, it's fairly pigmented. It's got a little bit of a glow to it. It's not too pink, but it's not really a nude color either. I just love it. I wore this blush on my wedding day, and it lasted the whole night. I could still see my blush, although not clown-like, at the end of the night. It looked great. I couldn't have been happier with this blush, even though it is a pricey item. Love it. Moving on to a couple of highlighters. The first one I want to mention is all over YouTube, but I just love it, and that is Becca Cosmetics Opal. What is it? Shimmering Skin Perfector in Opal. I have Opal, Moonstone, and Champagne Pop. I like all of them, but this is my favorite. And I don't know what it is about it. They all feel creamy, but this one, I just like the little bit of peachy, pinky shimmer it has to it. I don't feel like golden, like actual golden highlighters look that great on me. I'm not sure why, but I really love this. It's what I'm wearing right now. Super intense. Love these highlighters. Opal is my favorite. If you don't have it and you have the money, these are pricey. I'm not going to say they're not. Go ahead and try it. They're beautiful. You can't go wrong with any of them based on your skin tone. The next one I have is probably my favorite highlight that I have, and it's relatively relatively inexpensive. This is the Supershock Cheek Highlight in Lunch Money by Colourpop. They have a weird texture if you've never tried them. I think it's kind of cool. I like that it's kind of almost like a cream. It feels wet when you touch it. I don't know, but I just love it. It is super intense. I'm going to run out of places to swatch stuff. But if you can see that, it's just a really pretty, very pale white gold highlight. I apply it with my fingers. I'll put a little bit on my finger and then just tap it over my cheekbones, or sometimes I'll just go ham and put it on my cupid's bow, tip the nose, chin, the whole shebang, because I like glowing like a disco ball. But I just love this stuff. It is a beautiful highlighter, and I like the cream texture. If you're a fan of cream products, I would try this. They're really awesome highlights. I want to get more. The next thing I want to talk about are some contouring products, and I've gotten into cream contouring this year. I've gotten a couple of darker concealers that I use, but by far my favorite thing that I use are my Smashbox contour sticks. I primarily use the contour and highlight shade. I don't use the bronze one as much, but I just love the stuff. It makes it so easy. They come in these little tips. You do have to resharpen them. That's the only downside to me. but I will just go from the top where my ear meets my face here and draw in the hollow and then blend it out, usually with a beauty blender, sometimes with a brush, and I feel like it gives me a more natural contour than when I use powder. If I'm going for a slightly lighter makeup, or if I'm trying to really intensify it, I will go in with these first and then a powder contour on top for photography or something. I really love these. Again, these are not cheap either. I think it's $45 for the kit, but they do last forever. I've had these almost the full year, and as you can see, there's still plenty of the stick left. I love this stuff. If you're into contouring, into cream contouring specifically, I would check these out. Moving on to lips. I have a few lip products that I love this year, and my absolute favorite of the year, probably of all time, is this NARS Audacious lipstick in Barbara. It's described as a tan rose color, and it is beautiful. To me, it's a My Lips But Better color. Let me swatch it on my wrist so you guys can see it. If you can see that. It is the most gorgeous, like, pink tan nude shade. It goes with everything. It looks beautiful. I can't say enough good things about this lipstick, especially the formula. The NARS Audacious lipstick formula is fantastic. It's not drying. They're creamy. They last, even though they're not supposed to be a long-wearing lipstick. I just love them. They are pricey. I think these are $32 a piece. I only own 2 of them, but when I bought one, I made sure I got a shade that I could use every day, and I do almost wear this every day. It's wonderful. Another nude lipstick that I really, really love is Too Faced Melted Nude Melted Lipstick in the shade Melted Chihuahua. This is also a kind of dusty pink color. As you can see, it's a little gross on the tip because I use it a lot, and now that I have these side by side, I can see how similar they are. They are pretty similar. This one's a little bit darker and a little more brown maybe than this one, but they're very similar. I love this lipstick. I like the melted formula. I think it's really cool. I like the tip applicator, actually. I feel like it makes it really easy for me to get into the grooves of my lips. And this color in particular just looks really great, especially with warm looks. I love it. And for my favorite funky color lipstick of the year, it is going to Kat Von D's Everlasting Liquid Lipstick in the shade L.U.V. This is a very bright purple. I love this color. If I'm wanting to do a bold lip and I'm wearing like a mostly black outfit, which I tend to do, I will do just kind of a simple wing liner and throw this lip color on. It looks so cool. I have never gotten more compliments on a lip color than when I wear this one because it's different, it's bright, but it's not crazy out there. I just love this lipstick, and they really do last all day. They are a little drying on me. I'm actually not a big fan of most liquid lipsticks because my lips are super dry and they get uncomfortable, and even if they last all day, if my lips are all flaky and gross by the end, it's just not worth it. So you have to make sure that you really moisturize your lips before you use them, but this color is so worth it to me. One of my favorites. And last but not least for the favorites, I have some eye products that I want to talk about. The first one came into me, I should not say that again. The last product I came to love toward the end of the year, and that, I've heard it hyped up. I bought it before I ever heard anyone talk about it. I was just like, ooh, this sounds nice. Someone on Reddit told me that I should use a corrector. And this is the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. This stuff is amazing. I don't know what else I can say about it. It's a really peachy pink color. It's not too dark. It's super brightening. I wouldn't say that I have a lot of darkness underneath my eyes, per se, not like super dark circles, but the skin around my eyes has just always been very red, thin. I have veins that you can see. It just doesn't look very good. So I use this corrector before my concealer, and it just really brightens everything. It evens it out. You can't tell if there's any redness there. and it just looks wonderful. I don't know what else I can say about it. I haven't tried any other correctors, but I really don't know if I want to because this one works so well for me. I've heard a few people say that you can't wear it on its own because it'll look too peachy, but I do. On no makeup makeup days, I will throw this under my eyes, set it with some translucent powder, and I'm good to go. I love this stuff. The next thing I want to talk about, also a primer, is MAC's Soft Ochre Paint Pot. Not a whole lot I can say about it. It's a primer for your eyelid. I like it better than Urban Decay's, what is it called? Primer Potion. I've tried it. This one I feel is a little less tacky, which I like. And I actually like the way it applies a little bit better. I've tried it and I like it better than Lorax Eye Primer. I actually can't stand that one. I feel like my eyeshadow still creased when I used it. And I don't have super oily eyelids, but I do have slightly hooded eyes. And so where they fold, I've got kind of like a double fold thing going on. I get creases if I don't use a primer. And when I use a primer and it still creases, I wonder what's going on and why I'm even using a primer. So Soft Ochre Paint Pot from MAC never fails me. Eyeshadows don't crease. I can wear them all day. They look great. I love this stuff. The next I actually came into, what is it with me in that phrase? I really shouldn't say that. It sounds horrible. Anyway, is L'Oreal's Lacquer Liner in Blackest Black? Is that what it's called? Blackest Black. This stuff is wonderful. Kind of a preview for my flops over here. I threw it away so I don't have it anymore. This has completely replaced my Bobbi Brown cream eyeliner. This stuff lasts just as long. It is blacker. I feel like it's creamier. It goes on better. My only complaint with it is that if it smears, it goes everywhere. Like all over your eye. And you will probably have to remove some of your eye makeup to get this stuff off. But if you're careful with it, it is super creamy. It's super long wearing. It's super black, and it's a crap ton cheaper than the Bobbi Brown one or any other higher end cream liners that I've tried. I love this stuff. L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour lacquer liner. Blackest Black, beautiful. The next I want to talk about is a mascara, and I don't have an absolute favorite mascara at this moment, but this is the one that stood out to me in 2015. I'm still searching for my favorite, but this is the one I use the most. I think it looks great. Wearing it right now. I don't do falsies, so I want something that really makes my lashes stand out, and for 2015 this was it, and this is Benefit's Roller Lash. I just have a sample size right now. I like the little wand. I like that it has a curve. I will go in with this side first and kind of plump up my lashes and then finish them with the other side. I love this thing. I feel like it makes my lashes look really long. It doesn't give me a ton of volume, but it gives me just enough. I really love this stuff, and I'll probably buy a full size when this one runs out. Last but not least, and the only palette I have to talk about, even though I own a ton of palettes, we don't even need to talk about it, is Kat Von D's Shade and Light Eye Contour Palette. This I use almost every single day. Every time I do eyeshadow, I'm grabbing for this thing. It just has every neutral color you could possibly want in here. They're all matte. I love this sort of peachy shade. It rivals Peach Smoothie from Makeup Geek to me. I love this stuff. I went through a phase with the Ready Browns, and as you can see, it's a little beat up from how much I've been using it. They blend easy, they're pigmented, it's everything you want in an eyeshadow palette, and they're all matte. And everybody needs, in my opinion, a good matte eyeshadow palette. And for me, this one's great. It's got your neutral quad, your cool quad, your warm quad, so you can do all sorts of looks with it. I just love it. It's been probably my absolute favorite product of 2015 ever. And that's how I feel. So that is it for my favorites portion of this video, and now on to a little bit more of a downer. And the first one almost hurts me to talk about because I have a love-hate relationship with it, and this is the Better Than Sex mascara from Too Faced. When I first got it, I loved it. It made my lashes super volumized, super long, super black, everything you would want. But I've noticed that they don't stay that way on me. When I first put it on, they'll look great, but then my lashes kind of droop and they just don't look the same as when I first put it on. It also flakes. I have gotten mascara flakes stuck up underneath the top of my eyelid and scratch my eye when I wear this more times than I want to count. I have had to get my husband to take a Q-tip and like flick a mascara flake out from underneath my eyelid, which is just as horrifying as it sounds. And it's been almost every time that I've worn this mascara. Yeah, the wand is just too big. It's just ridiculous. I don't know what is with this wand, but it's just way too big for me. Again, because I have funky lashes and there are some sparse spaces. If I try to get up against the other lashes, it'll smudge on my eyes and it just gets everywhere, and it's just a big mess that I have to clean up. And when you first put it on, it's worth it. Your lashes look great, but by the end of the day, they're droopy, they're flaky. I don't know, just not worth it for me. I'm really sad that it didn't work because I really wanted to love it. Second mascara I want to talk about is L'Oreal's Voluminous Miss Manga Rock. I got the waterproof kind. I also have the non-waterproof. I feel the same about both of them. I heard bad things about the original Miss Manga, but I heard great things about the Miss Manga Rock. I tried this, and first of all, the wand is really weird to me. It's like stubby, nubby gel things. Not a big fan. And it made my lashes really long and really thick, but like the crunchiest spider lashes in the world. It just wasn't good. I tried to wear it one day with no eyeliner or anything on, and I just looked like a big spidery mess. And by the end of the day, I was there just like picking it off so that it wouldn't look like that anymore. And that's just not what I want in a mascara. Inexpensive drugstore item, but it just didn't work for me. The next product I want to talk about is also from the drugstore, and it's a brow product. And I was really intrigued by this because it had the pencil tip on one end, a wax tip, and a little brush head here to comb through your brows. And this is the, is this L'Oreal? L'Oreal Brow Stylist Sculptor. Brow Stylist Sculptor. Eyebrow Pencil. This just didn't work for me in any capacity. The wax just looks flaky and gross. You're not going to be able to see it on my hand. If I can even turn it the right way. Nope, can't. So it just looks flaky and gross. It doesn't do anything to hold my brows. It did nothing except look flaky and like I had chunks of wax sitting in my eyebrows. The other end, and I believe this is their dark brown. Yes, this is their brunette. This is their brunette pencil. I can't even get the end off now. It's too warm for me. Like, it made my eyebrows look super warm. Like, I don't know. It just wasn't a good shade for me. Plus, the wax was weird. It did nothing. I just didn't like this pencil. It doesn't have a fine enough tip, and it made them too thick at the tails, and I just wasn't a big fan. L'Oreal Brow Stylist Sculptor, not a big fan. Next and last eye product I want to talk about is probably going to be really controversial here, but I've tried it so many different times and it just doesn't work, and that is the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner in Trooper. Yeah, I want to love it so much. It does look great. It gives you a super precise wing. It's black, if you can get it to go on your eyeball. And I don't know if it's just me and I have like the driest eyelids in the world, but this would just not go on. Like, I would be able to get halfway through an eye and then it would dry up, and then it would start skipping, or then all of a sudden it would like start working again when I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, just go on my eye already, and then I get a big smudge. And it just didn't look good. At first, I was told by a few other people and thinking myself that I might have gotten a bad one, so I bought a little sample size, and at first it worked great, and then after like a week it started doing the same thing, and I'm not storing it anywhere weird. I have it in my vanity, room temperature, laying flat. I've even tried storing it like upside down so the product runs into the little brush tip, and it always dries out on me. It did the same thing with the Mad Max brown one that I bought to see if it was just the formulation of the black one, but they both just dry out and I wind up messing up my eyeliner trying to get it on. So it just didn't work for me. I really want to love it. I'm going to try a few of the drugstore dupes that people said they found for it, like the Jessie's Girl, because I think the applicator is wonderful. I get a super thin, super precise line with it when I can get it to work. So that's how I feel about Kat Von D's Trooper. Next product I want to talk about are lip products, and I have a few that did not work for me. And the first one I want to talk about is a liner, and this is Urban Decay's Ultimate Ozone Multipurpose Primer Pencil. I got this because, again, I don't use lip liner very much, but I thought, hey, to keep something from feathering outside the lines of my lips, a clear one would be great. I don't feel like this kept anything from feathering, and when I lined my lips with it, it left like a weird waxy residue that you could see on top of my skin around and on my lips, and it just didn't look good. I don't like that waxy consistency, plus it also didn't do its job of keeping things from feathering, so definite no for me. If I still had the receipt, I'd probably be returning it. The next one I want to talk about is something that I really wish had worked, and you'll probably see why as soon as I show it to you. This is the NYX Simply Nude Stix in Sable. And as you can see, my issue with it is mainly the packaging. It's a great nude color for me. It is creamy. It lasts, but yeah, do you see that inside the little tube? This is the third one I've bought. They have all done this. I keep them in my purse, and it's not even hot outside. I bought this when it wasn't hot at all. And it just comes out and then sticks to the tube, and then you're stuck with this lipstick that's stuck in the tube and not where you need it. And it'd be beautiful if the packaging worked. NYX needs to repackage these so that I can actually wear these and not have to like get it all over my hands trying to get it out and stuff it back in the tube and put it on. Again, all three of them did this. Not sure if it's just this color because this color was the one I bought every time, but I just can't handle lipstick that is stuck in the tube. Next one I want to talk about is Anastasia Beverly Hills Liquid Lipstick in Spicy. I know, these are also a cult favorite. Apparently cult favorites just aren't working very well for me this year, but, and I will say this is the only one from Anastasia Beverly Hills that I've tried, and I don't know why I bought this color. Well, no, that's a lie. I do. I bought this color because I don't have anything like it, and now I know why. Orange lipstick just really doesn't flatter me. But it wasn't just the color that I didn't like. I did like how comfortable these liquid lipsticks were to wear. They were super comfortable. It didn't dry me out, but they also never dried down. I let this dry for at least half an hour before I went out to dinner with my husband, and by the end of the dinner, like, I had the butthole lips, I had orange all over my face from where it was rubbing off. It just didn't stay on, plus the color wasn't super flattering. Just really not a fan of this liquid lipstick. I might try a few of her other shades, but Spicy just did not work for me. Alright, next I'm going to talk about some face products. And the first one I'm going to talk about is this Milani Baked Blush in Rose d'Oro. I have Luminoso. It's a pretty blush. It's not my favorite, but it's very pretty. And so I bought this one thinking it would be just as gorgeous. It looks beautiful in the pan, but it has super chunky glitter. I don't know how to describe it other than that. The glitter is not fine at all. And it probably won't show up on camera, but I don't want chunks of sparkle on my cheeks, and that's what I feel like this does when I apply it. Wasn't a big fan. The next thing I want to talk about is a foundation, and this is Urban Decay's Naked Skin foundation. I have mine in the shade 2.0. It's a good color match. I just don't like the way it sits on my skin. As you can tell, or maybe you can't. It's down to about here. I used quite a bit of it when I first got it, but once I started experimenting with other foundations, I noticed I just didn't like the way this sat on my skin. You could see it on my skin. It looked cakey. It settled into my dry patches even when I didn't set it with a powder at all, and now I just don't reach for this whatsoever because I feel like it just exaggerates everything about my skin that I want to cover up. And yeah, Didn't like it. The next product I'm going to talk about, I feel like I'm going to get a lot of hate over too. But this is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Palette. As you know, I like Hourglass's other products. I shared a blush and a powder in my favorites, but my problem with this isn't the quality. It is the fact that I just don't use these particular powders. The first one is kind of a pinky tone, and I'm a little bit more yellow. I just didn't find this particular shade to be very flattering on me. The middle shade is a much lighter, kind of pearlescent color, and I will sometimes use this as a very natural, like almost no makeup days highlight, but that's about all I get use out of it. And the last color is just too dark for me. Sometimes I can use it as a bronzer, but most of the time I just grab for something else because overall the palette just doesn't have the shades that I want in it. I probably would have been better off just going ahead and buying the diffused light that I love so much on its own before purchasing this. The next face product, again, is super hyped up on YouTube, and it is probably my most regrettable purchase from this year, and that is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. I loved this stuff when I first got it. I love the consistency. I love how it blended out. I love the little doe foot applicator. I thought it was amazing. But I started noticing that whenever I would wear this concealer, my under eyes would just start melting off. Like I've mentioned before, I have really watery eyes. And so generally, I will set with a powder, and then whenever I start to feel my eyes watering, I'll just take my finger or a tissue or something and dab away at the water. With this, every time, no matter how much powder I set it with, even the smallest dab, even me going like to pick up the water, I would just suddenly have whole chunk of concealer gone. And like I've said before, my eyes are really red. Like the skin around my eyes is red and veiny, and so when it came up, it was really noticeable. And this would be no matter how gingerly, how gently I tried to dab it away, it came right up. And I'm just not a fan. And after trying so many different ways to make it work, it did it every time. And so I'm just not a fan. The formula just sucks to me. I really want to love you because you blend out so well, but the coverage wasn't even that great, and I can't deal with my under eyes just melting. So that's a no. In a similar vein, and equally as hyped up on YouTube, I dislike it just as much, but for completely different reasons. This is the NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer, and my problem with this is that it does not blend out easily. I have a hard time blending this out even with a damp beauty blender, which is how I normally blend out my under eye concealer. And I have fairly dry under eyes, and this just made them look cakey and thick and especially powdery because I have to set it in order for it not to crease. I noticed it creasing, it looking cakey, heavy, didn't blend out easy. Just not a fan, and this is way too much money to not blend and to not look good. So this is a pass for me. I will not be repurchasing this. I know a lot of people love it, but it just did not work for me. The next product I want to talk about is something that I hear people talk about all the time as an affordable option if you don't have a lot of money to be throwing around on tools, and that is this Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. I bought this as a foundation brush because I pretty much only used my beauty blender, and I hate this thing. I don't know how people are making this work. I don't know if it's just my technique. Feel free to tell me how you use it, because when I tried to put my foundation on with this, and I did it with multiple foundations, I looked like a hot streaky mess. It was not good. Like, just straight up streaks all over your face. And I tried, like, different ways of using it. Like, I tried kind of more like tapping it. I tried it in this kind of swirling, buffing motion. I tried it in, like, an actual, like, almost a paintbrush motion. And it just looked streaky every time and patchy. And especially around my nose, like I've mentioned before, my nose is super dry and I'll get dry patches around the tip. It emphasized those more than when I use other brushes. I don't know what it is about it, but I just don't like it. I don't even know how I'm supposed to use it. I've tried it for contour every now and then, but it's just too thick. I have no idea what to do with this brush. Let me know how you use it, how you make your foundation work with it, because so far, I can't find something that works for me. The last product I have is something that I bought at like the very beginning of 2015, and I saw a bunch of reviews saying that they didn't like it, and I honestly should have listened, but I didn't because I got suckered into the limited edition, and this is the Urban Decay Naked on the Run palette. First of all, I am sorry about the gigantic mirror. I don't use that many cool toned looks. The eyeshadows in here are pretty, but I have other ones that are just as pretty, if not more pigmented. The blush in here is like super hot pink. Like super hot pink. I have not been able to make this work for me. It is super intense and bright. Can't deal. And the bronzer is just straight up orange. And orange is not a good look on anybody, in my opinion, for a bronzer. I don't know who they were aiming towards with this, but it didn't work for me. It also came with a perversion mascara in it, which I did like until literally one day the bristles melted off of it. I did keep it in kind of a hot car for a while, but literally the bristles, like I pulled the wand out and the bristles were gone. It wasn't a good day. And it also came with a lip gloss, which is nice, and a dark brown eye pencil, but I'm not the biggest fan of the Urban Decay Glide On eye pencils either. So just overall, this was a no for me. The only thing I even kind of liked in it was the mascara, which melted, and the gloss, which I could have gotten cheaper purchasing it on its own. So overall, this was just a big miss for me. And that about sums up my video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please give me a like, thumbs up, subscribe if you enjoyed it. I'll be coming out with more content soon, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.